Hey YouTube! Are you ready to go on a low-budget myth-busting adventure? In Pokemon? Well, stay tuned, because in this video I'll be taking a look behind the 3 plants in some old guy's home in Sootopolis city. Yeah, perfect intro. As you can tell, I may not be the greatest writer, but I'll try to keep it as painless as possible from now on. My adventure started out simply by creating a new save game in Pokemon Emerald, the German version to be exact, since that's the one I've played as a kid. I played until I got my starter Pokemon and then proceeded to hack myself a Mew because we gotta have that. Another thing I wanted to edit was the player position. However, I wasn't able to figure out how to do it, so I had to use a different method. Obviously, I had to get to Sootopolis, but how am I going to do that? Well, I gave my Mew Surf, set the flags for all the badges and started up the game. The plan is to walk to Slateport City and surf from there. Turns out Team Aqua is blocking my path, so I gotta take an alternative route. So, my second attempt would be to go to Route 123. Not sure what exactly I was thinking there, but I ended up running into a dead end. Great. At that point I started trying to use a walk through walls cheat. For some reason though, no matter which code I tried, it always did the exact opposite of what it was supposed to do. It locked me in place and I couldn't move. It's like instead of allowing me to walk through walls, it turned everything into a wall. Well, since that didn't work, my next attempt was to go to Fortree City through Route 119, follow Route 120 and 121 to Lily Cove City, from which I would surf. Except for one small problem. Team Aqua is blocking the way again. Okay. At that point I couldn't think of any alternative routes. Now I have to get walk through walls working. It was then that I had an idea. Remember when I said I was using the German version? Guess what the issue was? Yeah, exactly that. So I copied my save game and started up the US version of Pokemon Emerald. And guess what? Walk through walls worked instantly. So, with my new knowledge, I proceeded to surf through walls in the general direction of Sootopolis. My first try ended up kinda glitching the game out, since I was now walking on water, but my second attempt worked fine. At that point I realized something though. My emulator glitches out underwater, so all I see is my character and a bunch of fog. After some really painful navigation, I finally managed to find the cave entrance and use dive to get back up. And there I was. Sootopolis City. Man, what a fucking journey. Oh, and at this point I saved my game and switched back to the German version. Now, the house I'm talking about is located in the bottom right corner. If you go inside, you'll find a house that doesn't look too different compared to most houses. Except for one thing. There's a staircase blocked by a bunch of plants. If you're seeing this for the first time, it's easy to assume this is just the developers trying to piss you off. But if you look a little deeper, you'll find there's a lot more to this than you may expect. Some others have covered this topic before, but a lot of them claim different things. Some, for example, say there's no warp point there, so the staircase has absolutely no purpose. That's not true, however. If you open this particular house up in the map editor and look at the events, you'll find there is actually a warp point there. Following this warp point, we can see a small room with a single NPC in it. At this point, I edited my ROM and removed the plants. Removing the plants alone is not enough though. There's 2 things left to do. We need to change the collision map so we can walk through there, and we need to change the height of the warp to 0. Once we've done that, we can actually walk through there. We end up in the same room we've seen inside the map editor. The NPC has a different sprite though. Control is instantly taken away from us, and our character automatically walks to the NPC. After that, a dialog box shows up containing a bunch of question marks. Now, if we proceed to press A, the game will crash with the horrible screeching noise you usually get when pulling out the cartridge mid-game. So it looks like this isn't gonna work. The adventure doesn't end here though. I had a little closer look at the NPC. It looks like this NPC doesn't really have any data associated with it. Every value for it is set to 0. I tried editing them, but after I accidentally turned the NPC into a rock, I knew I wouldn't get it to work that way. My next idea was to try and use the US version again. Maybe it's just something region specific. So I made the same changes to the map as I did on the German version and received a very similar result. The only difference was the amount of question marks in the text box. Okay, this doesn't work either. But there's one last version I haven't tried. The Japanese version. So, I did the same thing yet again for the Japanese version, but this time things played out quite a bit differently. At first, everything seemed to be the same. The character moved towards the NPC and a text box with a bunch of question marks popped up. The difference is, the game actually initiated a battle like it was trying to the whole time. The battle isn't very exciting though. The opponent is displayed as having 0 Pokemon, throwing out a question mark at level 0. As you can imagine, defeating him wasn't that difficult. After I did, another text box popped up, containing some question marks, yet again. After that, my character automatically left the room and went back up. At this point, the resident of this house walked in front of the staircase and said something in Japanese. It was probably nothing exciting, but I wanted to know what he said, so I used an optical character recognition app and translated the outcome. As expected, it's just some generic text. Translated to English, it says something like, "You did it! It's almost like I was watching myself when I was young." And that's it. After that, he blocks the staircase, and if you talk to him again, you'll get some more generic dialogue. This dialogue, however, is most likely the same he usually says, just in Japanese. At this point it should be obvious why this staircase has been blocked off. This raises another question though. Why is the staircase there to begin with? Well, in December 2001, Nintendo released an add-on for the Game Boy Advance called the Nintendo e-reader. This is basically a device that allows you to scan cards which can be used to unlock certain things in a game. One instance of these cards were the Pokemon Battle e-cards. These basically contained the data for a trainer you could fight. However, this functionality was only available in the Japanese version, since by the time Pokemon Emerald came out in the US, the e-reader was already discontinued there. This is also the reason why the game crashes. The Japanese version has a portion of RAM allocated to e-reader data. Since this functionality has been removed, this portion of RAM is used for other data. The map for the e-reader battle has been left in though, so it attempts to load the trainer battle from the same part of the RAM as it would in the Japanese version. Since this portion is used for other data in this version, the game loads garbage data, leading it to crash. Why does it work in the Japanese version though? Well, it's actually very similar to what happens in the other version. The game loads data that it's not supposed to load. However, this time, the portion of RAM allocated to the e-reader actually exists. Since I never scanned a card, this portion is set to 0, causing the game to load the trainer battle with every parameter set to 0. This doesn't crash the game, it just makes for a very strange Pokemon battle. And there we are. This should be everything there is to know about the blocked staircase in Sootopolis City. I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I don't usually do videos like this, so bye!